Welcome. Welcome. Look, there's two people here. It's a bonanza. 9,500 subscribers for years and years and years, and I got two people. Woo. We're going to discuss, as the title says, magnetism. We're going to point something out that's very obvious. Well, obviously it's not obvious, but it's self-explanatory. No, it's not. It's not even that. I'm going to explain it. I mean, to me, it's just so simple. But, you know, to those people who call themselves Christians or any religious people, they're not going to understand it. But I'm going to break it down. I'm going to make it simple. Explain it simply because I'm a simple man myself. The only problem is I've woken up a few more brain cells than the average person. This is why I can interpret things as they are, meant to be read or understood. So we've only got two people here. I've got to get 10 at least, otherwise it's not worth my time. Go pull out your Bible if you have one and turn to Genesis 3:7. We're going to talk about that. And if I get a few more followers, I can carry on and explain all of Genesis to people. It's all refers to flat earth physics. It's all flat earth physics. So how come it just jumps from 2 people to 10 all of a sudden? It's all controlled, isn't it? Why did it all of a sudden jump to 10? Okay, well, I'll say 20. I'll tell the story if I get 20 people. I need 20 people to explain this. It's all about magnetism. Understanding flat earth is understanding magnetism. I'm about to blow the lid on this. Well, I've already blown the lid on globe theory. I've destroyed it, but it just doesn't get out there. No one's repeating it. Mostly due to ignorance or no reach, because we're restricted. Man doesn't have a platform, really, do we? We don't have a platform. If you discover something, where do you go? You can't go to these dipsticks who run everything. These so-called what do they call it? Peer review. Peer review. Who's your peer? If you know more than anybody else, who's your peer? There is no peer. You don't go to a bunch of brain-dead MORERONS and have them review your information. No, you have to get it out as quick as possible, far and wide. So just hang in there for a few minutes. We'll see who turns up. 10 people. We're going to talk about magnetism of flat earth, people. You're going to find out why the earth is flat and why everybody out there thinks the world's a globe. Well, it just dropped down to 3. Oh, look at it, 7 now. You're going to find out how brain dead all the people are who believe in globe theory. Maybe if I don't talk, I might get more people turn up. That's a fig leaf, in case you're wondering. We're going to talk about this here. Genesis 3:7. So if you have a Bible handy, we're not Bible bashing today. Well, you could call it that actually. I'm going to be bashing the Bible. Well, not bashing the Bible, but I'm bashing the people who think they can interpret the Bible because they read it literally. So it just dropped from 12 back to 9 instantly like this. How do all these people just instantly drop off at the same time? Because the whole thing's controlled. Hi, I'm from Scottish Highlands. How you doing? How you doing up there? Oh, that's a bad accent. Scottish. Well, my family's got Scottish in them. Scottish, Irish, English. The old man had a bit of Italian in him. He looks brown as. He's coming up, well, not sure if he's going to make it actually. This February 21st, he will be 102. Would have made it easily, probably 105 at least. But he had a fall. He broke his ribs, sawing some bloody wood on an old rotten old saw stool, and the bloody saw stool fell apart on him. He fell forward, stabbed him in the ribs, broke his ribs, gave him shingles, blah, blah, blah. Twisted his back because he was getting so thin and weak. It's twisted his whole torso. So now he's in full-time pain and no one wants to fix him because he's so old. No one wants to touch him. And you can't touch him now anyway because every little thing makes him ache. Anyway, we got 8 now. Keeps dropping down. Got a friend named Scott. Does that count? Yeah, right. Scott. Falling is the end for old folks, yeah. They always have a fall and break their hips or something, don't they? He didn't break his hip, although he's had a hip replacement. He got a hip replacement when he was about 96. You know, the worst thing for your hips is ice cream, eh? Well, all sugar really, all processed sugar. But unless you burn it off, always burn it off. You go and have some junk food, sugary junk, make sure you burn it off with some sort of exercise, get the old heart pumping. Don't have too much junk food because you give yourself a heart attack when you're trying to exercise. Still only 9 people. So who's got a Bible in front of them? You don't have to be religious. I'm just going to read something to you. I'm going to explain something. I'm going to go get my pointy stick. Where is it? Got an orange pointy stick today. Look at my orange pointy stick. Kids love these. Funny, yeah. I let my little 3-year-old nephew play with one and straight away broke the flipping finger off it. It was the red one. I've got it about 5 different colours. So, see, what are 3 thoughts on the moon map? Well, there's something in it because the moon is like a negative print of the black hole, and Earth is from the black hole. So if you drew the Ptolemy's planetary cycles on a flat circular plane, right at the center is the black hole. Well, Earth came out of there, and that's why it's fixed and stationary, because it's the center, it's magnetically locked. It's like the tokamak creating plasma. It's held in there by magnetic field, and the moon is part of the sun. The sun and the moon are one, but they're split off. As soon as our realm was created, they split. So you go, the female go her way and the male goes this way, and forever they're chasing each other, right? Well, it's showing us, because this is creation I'm talking about, you go back to creation, the moon always comes back into the sun every new moon. So they're returning back to their source. This is what man does in his life cycle. He lives his life, dies, goes back to the source, comes and does it again, goes back to the source. It's called reincarnation. It's recycling. You know, if you're really ignorant, you won't come back as a man. You might come back as some other weird animal or a tree. I mean, all the energy is the same. There's only one central vortex of creation. All the energy is in there, cannot be destroyed or created. So everything gets recycled. And it's only recycled if you manage this pairing. And if you follow a bit of quantum mechanics or whatever, they talk about pairings, electron pairings, because it's basically what it is. You have to get this pairing, male and female, because our world's dual, and you have to find this pairing before you can come back into this realm. Otherwise, you keep being recycled through the magnetic field, basically. It's an infinity symbol that runs through the earth. It's energy that's flowing all the time. And until you get to the point where there's a pairing, you don't come back into this realm. Just a long story. So the moon might have a map of the earth on it in a weird way. I don't know how they sort of spin it like it works, but I don't know why we only see a portion of it on there. Because, you know, I understand all the physics of the flat earth, and we're in this closed realm, and it only goes so far. The high pressure holds us in. Why is the moon only displaying part of the cycle? It could be inverted, though. If you took that image and spun it inside out, it's in there somewhere. It has to be. So what have we got here? Hey, realists, all in the chat. Yeah, realists. You've got to be a realist. Lindsay, moon map. Yeah, just went over that. Vibes of the Cosmos, moon map. Yeah, that dude. They do a pretty good job of explaining it, or showing the images and that, I suppose. So I think there's something in it. Because like I say, Earth is from the whole. The ancient Egyptians have told us this. Earth is from the whole. It's written. Those words. They're the ones that told us about man's arc of horizon. Earth is from the whole. So you go back to the source like a mustard seed and blow it out into a toroidal field. You have an inertial plane through the guts of it, and that plane is from that black hole center. It's a circular black hole, fixed and stationary. Earth has come from there, fixed and stationary. And it's written, man is born into darkness. Well, that's consciously, because he hasn't woken up yet. You know, we're not a living man yet. We think we are. And how many times is the word ignorant mentioned in all the Gospels and religious texts? Ignorant. Because man is totally ignorant. He thinks he's awake when we're probably all just living in this dodo dream, because it's all manufactured by your mind. Because rebirth, the meaning to life, is all about becoming a living man. That's when you actually become a living man. And if you understand this, you start connecting it to all this corporate law stuff, you know, because the whole Freemason system is about you being a nobody until you're illuminated, become a Freemason, maybe, basically. So you're not a Freemason until you wake up, go through this illumination. And this is the syncing of the two hemispheres of the brain, as it's called in the released CIA papers. What's it called? The gateway process. They know about it. I'm not sure if they are wise enough to understand that's what religion's all about. And this is what we're going to be talking about today. This here, the thinking. Okay? So I'm going to read the passage here. Okay, Genesis 3:7. Without going through everything else, because every one of these paragraphs, or whatever they call them, is a flippin' book on its own. You know, if someone was to interpret this Bible, you know, how thick the flippin' Bible is, like it says somewhere, there wouldn't be enough paper in the world. Okay? So I'll read it. And the eyes of them both were opened through illumination, you see. This is rebirth. It's all about even time, the duality coming together, even, because this story is about Eve, Adam and Eve, even time. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. Here's a perfect example, okay, of the ignorance of people who have no idea about the Bible. So here's a fig leaf, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prongs. At even time, the story tells you, sewed fig leaves together. Okay? So that they become one. This represents even time. Eve in time. Even time. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now it's got 8 prongs. Did I say 8 prongs or 8 prongs? 8 prongs or 8 prongs? What do you think? Well, when you know the story and everything's about magnetism, the duality, because magnetism is dual, right? So Earth, if you drew Earth, it's like this. It's a magnetic flux of, say, it's a ring magnet, basically like a ring magnet. Then you've got to draw the two 180 degrees, and then you've got the tropical gap. So you've got the northern hemisphere in here, right? You've got the southern hemisphere all the way around the outside. They're dual, right? So you look at it this way, it looks like this. That's the northern hemisphere in here. Northern hemisphere in here. Then you've got the tropical gap where the magnetic field is direct, no declination, not like out here. There's your magnetic field. Infinite. It kills like that. It's a golden ratio. That's what Einstein and his cronies plagiarized and turned into time dilation. Because from the south, the sun comes from here and goes around like this. In the north, it comes from here and goes around like this way. So basically, you could say it goes into there because the sun is seen in the tropical gap. There's the sun. So as this is moving around, the duality, both are moving because out here is mirrored to in here. So this spiral arm here is the Milky Way. And that's the southern hemisphere's Milky Way. This is why they come to the south to film the Milky Way. Look, it's bigger because we are bigger. Everyone out here is bigger because it goes like this, like a slice of a pizza. Everything expands as it moves south. It's all relative to the observer, so the observer's not to know. So you can have an observer here, an observer here, an observer here. So here, then it gets to this size, and then it gets to this size. So it's all relative. Time over distance is all equal in here because man has expanded with the field. Now, if you want to go back to the globe idea, there's expansion, or dilation. Dilation, the golden ratio, dilates out from there to there, dilates out from here to there. But the globe is symmetrical. The fact is, truth is a symmetrical. Science will tell you that. Earth is asymmetrical. One meridian line, everyone's on a meridian line like this, north to south, from there to there is asymmetrical. That is Plato's unequal divided line. So is the sun's analemma. Unequal divided line. It's phi. The phi ratio is a phi ratio. That is a phi ratio. This is a magnetic cycle. Anyway, this is representing, this overlay is representing the Physica Piscis. The two hemispheres of Earth. There's one hemisphere. There's one hemisphere star rotation on his meridian, that meridian there for that guy. There's the southern rotation, and there's this northern rotation. Well, these stars here, they drift north. They all move north. All this contracts in, just like the heart does. It's a vortex. It's all run by the central vortex. Here's the vortex. Our whole realm out here is governed by this hyperboloid centre. The vortex in here. It's all a holographic projection. The torus field. It's all governed by this central S. Okay? And it gets drawn in and then expands out. It's like a heart. It pumps up and in and out. But they don't call it a pump, do they? It's a diaphragm. Goes like this. There's your vortex. There's your 2D plane. It'll pump up. There's our realm out here. There's this hidden vortex. There's your S curve. That's the vortex. So it bulges up or it will go down. So the real plasma sun's in here with the black hole. We just get an image out in our realm because it's attached to the Milky Way. There's our sun out here. There's the true sun in there on the horizon of the black hole. So it goes down and out, which means the sun will be 24/7 out here in the Arctics. And when it goes up and in, the sun goes back through the torus field and pops up in the north here. Okay? So all we're told is it's going in between here. But you've got to realise this image here comes from behind us. Your image comes from behind you. Mine comes from behind me. So if you put something up here and block that image, that would disappear. And I proved this because I was filming the moon one night, leaning on my door frame. I wasn't wobbling. And I heard a chopper, very loud. The chopper came along. I didn't realise till later. I'll explain that in a minute. Anyway, the chopper came along and my image of the moon started waving in the wind. It was just waving around. I'm thinking, what the hell? I've got it on film. Then I realised everything's coming from behind me. I never saw the chopper, as loud as anything. It was about 8:30 at night. The full moon, I think the moon was nearly full. The chopper was behind me, behind the house, the south side where the image comes from. He was upsetting you could just say he was upsetting the atmosphere because it's a holographic projection anyway. Or you could say he was upsetting the pipeline that was giving me the energy, it's coming from the south. The pipeline that was giving me the image. The field, the projector. So I'm saying anyone with a lot of money, like a millionaire, they can prove this. This will be testable. On the night of a full moon, you get the chopper to fly up behind the observer, because every moon is an image, a personal image of the observer. Fly up behind them on the south side or the north side, depending on which hemisphere you're in, and find the spot. You'll find it, and you'll prove once and for all you're living in a holographic universe and the earth is flat. It all goes back to that. Okay? So this image here I've now ruined. Let's go back to the original one, one fig leaf. What does this look like? That's the original gingerbread man. all those ancient stories, fables, nursery rhymes, whatever, all about flat earth physics. They knew that this represented magnetism. I've explained it through my Patreon. It's the magnetic field, flux or whatever, for each hemisphere. Now, some of you might have been watching there's some YouTube videos out coming from a guy called Mario Sacconi or something. The magnetic geometry. They haven't, got to the point where what I've been exposing for years, but they're getting there. Okay, so this is to do with that. So go check out their videos and you start understanding this shape maybe, because they're showing you a few 3D geometry shapes of the magnetic flux. So this all boils back to flat earth and understand the physica piscis at the time of year, because you've got to realize this field here moving up to overlay the north is what changes the constellations, because you've got stars here and you've got the stars in there. But it's all hidden under the veil. We don't see that. It all comes into our horizon. We don't see outside of our horizon, or we'd see all the secrets of the universe. No, whoever created this program did a bloody good job. It's perfect in every way. So you can't see what's going on till things come into your horizon. All the secrets are hidden beyond your horizon. Okay? So as this rotation is going around, it doesn't really go around. If you fix the camera, you see this circular rotation, but the stars aren't doing this. They're all drifting this way. They're all going right around the Earth, okay, to come back into your horizon. But this circle is always here because there's the central vortex up here. It's always there. It's always turning. It's a vortex. So there's an image out here, always, in there. The stars. The stars up in the northern sky are part of this vortex. They're just a straight up representation of the stars down in here. But the stars down in here are seen straight up, but the stars out in the south, which are exact same stars, are inverted. So you can sort of draw it. You're looking through this way, or you're looking through the stars that way. It's one hemisphere, that's the other hemisphere, inside out. And because you're out south, they're all expanded. So if you know anything about stars, Polaris is supposed to be a 3-star system. Well, out here, Sigma Octantis becomes 3 individual stars. You can't pinpoint that exact spot like we can in the north. It's more condensed. You're condensed. Out here, it's more expanded. You're expanded. And instead of having Ursa Major or the bears, we have the pot. The pot. We have the crux and the false cross, and certain parts of the night, like early morning is where you can start understanding the comparison between what we get here and around here as what you get up there in the north. Okay? So that means up north, if you have there's your centre black hole in Polaris. You see Polaris. Polaris does a small circle, eh? Most flat earthers don't even know that. That's Polaris. It does a little circle. So I think you have the handle, the pot sort of going like that or whatever, don't you? The handle going in like that. Well, I think out in the south it's opposite, because it's inverted, it's inside out. So you have the pot, there's the pot, facing south, and then you have the handle coming out here, because it's inside out. And that's basically what a torus field is, isn't it? You got this field here coming out, you got a field going in, and that's what magnetism is. You got an infield and an outfield, or you draw it, take a ring magnet, there's a ring hole, you've got a field going this way and you've got a field going that way. It's an in and out. So there's the difference. Magnetic confinement in there. That's the inertial plane through the center there. That's where things will rest right there in the center. Okay? And that's what religion's all about. This gap here, this central gap here, represents this inertial plane through here. Remember I've shown magnetism before? A magnet is like this. North, north, south, south. Well, that plane through there, is this plane around the Earth. The dielectric, the inertial plane, blah, 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 you name it. Okay, so go and read the original gingerbread story. And it's about him getting to the water, crossing the water, which is represented by the tropical gap here. They call this the river, the Jordan, the sea, the street, or whatever. It's about getting to the edge here. All the religious stories about getting to the border, the edge of the river, or the banks of the Jordan, or something, because the whole divine story is about here. I explain all that on my Patreon, so I'm not going too deep on flipping TikTok. What is this? YouTube. Okay, and just try and understand the story. And they mention animals. They're all about animals. They all mention animals because they represent the zodiac constellations. That's what the animals are. 2 by 2. 2 by 2 all come together into the ark. What do you think this is? Does it look like an ark? Does that look like an ark? 2 by 2 coming together. Equilibrium. Eve at even time. When's even time? First week of spring. Rebirth. Creation. The beginning of time. That's why the Egyptians' calendar begins spring. Okay? Okay, any questions? We've only got 9 here. What a joke. They're shadow banning me, aren't they, eh? Yeah. Well, it's up to you guys to go and share this information. Otherwise, it won't get out there. I'm shadow banned. You probably aren't. The great year. What about it? It's 2,590 something, blah, 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 isn't it? That's all to do with the precession. That's running out of paper. Go find some more paper. Precession of the equinoxes. Oh, look, I probably can't draw that. Is about the sun dropping back on the stars 20 minutes per day. All adds up, doesn't it? So at the end of the year, the sun does 2 to 1 with the stars. But not quite. It's short by 20 minutes. So each year, all the stars, the sun is dropping back 20 minutes. It all builds up. So at the end of the year, well, that's what I've just said, 20 minutes each year. And so it's as it's moving back, it's exposing more constellations, right? Well, it drifts all the way back, a total circle over 25,960, is it, or 20 or something, years. That's the great year. And each, like 2,160 or whatever it is each constellation, passing through each constellation, roughly. See, that the sun here represents the hare in the turtle story, in the that fable, LF's, whatever his name is, the fable, because here's the sun. I've already done a video on this, just yesterday I think it was. Here's the rabbit, there's the stars. So he's quicker because he's done 2 to 1 almost. at the end of the year. They can't explain this on the globe theory, so they poo-pooed all. There's no way. You have to go back to flat Earth to understand all these stories. And that's how it works. The sun is always quicker than the stars during the day because the sun races ahead of the stars from the night before. Then something has to fill this void. You got a 3-minute, 56-minute void here. Well, obviously you've got to have more stars. So you think about it, you got all these extra stars. They won the race. They're quicker than the moon, our sun. No, it's all BS. It's obvious the sun's raced ahead for those stars to fill that void. So each day, the sun races ahead. There's another void, 3 minutes 56, that the stars have to fill. Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So the sun is the quickest. He's the rabbit. But over the year, there's a period where the sun and the moon do not move in this tropical year cycle. It'll go around every day, but there's no declination to add to this here. So he took a rest. So the rabbit rested because he's so fast, and then didn't quite catch up to the stars at the end of the year. So the stars won. 20 minutes delayed. But he is still the quickest because it's nearly 2-1. He nearly lapped it. But he's 20 minutes short. That's the whole hare and the turtle story. See, I'm the only guy in the world who's ever explained this, along with 20 other discoveries over the last 10 years. I've got a big one coming up. Wow, it's mind-blowing. I'm the only person in the world who can show everybody 3D, 2D, a magnetic cycle. It's a real killer for the globe, eh? And it brings everyone back to flat Earth physics. Flat Earth physics. Understanding religion and why man is of the earth. And it takes you right back to all this Adam and Eve stuff, even time, syncing the two hemispheres of the brain, becoming illuminated, the whole Jesus story. That's why we have a Bible, because it's all about the meaning to life. But all the ignorant don't know. They don't understand it. Well, I'm going to help them when they realise, when I show the world what a magnetic cycle is. Man, I've made a lot of discoveries. I've explained the how the magnetic field doesn't cross the tropics, because the field comes up and goes down here, then along there, up there, down here, down here. Nothing crosses the tropics. Just see this here, crossing here? It's like a 3-phase induction motor. It doesn't cross over here, so it's a destroyer of the globe straight away. They try to tell you the field comes out of here and goes up and goes into here. What a joke. No, the truth is the field comes out of there and out of here. They both come out of both Arctics. They're both North Poles. And it comes up and over and straight down to their respective tropical boundaries, which are the South Poles. Earth is quadrupolar. It has a magnetic cycle here. It has a magnetic cycle here. North, south, north, south. How we get energy. Have you been following all the free energy, magnetism and all that? North, south, north, south, north, south. There's a similar system here. You need that gap, like an induction motor, like Tesla described. He called this, he secretly wrote about it. He called this man's energy. He called this gap here man's energy, and adjusting it to suit this whole system. It's in one of his papers. Can't remember what it was called. Okay, the great year, been over that. Like the Prague astronomical clock, yeah. The Prague astronomical clock, what a joke that is. There's 4 characters on there, eh? One is the banker holding the sun's dilemma. We're supposed to think that's a money bag. They say he's a banker. No, he's not. There's your sun's dilemma. So it's all about the sun at the right time. It's all timing about the divine event, even time, divine time. You have a skeleton, which represents the death of man's old ways before he's illuminated. He has to be cleaned out, purified before he becomes a living man. So they show you the skeleton. And then, I forget the other two. It's always about a cross anyway. Character here, and there's a character here. What are they? I can't remember what they were now. Not a map. Not a map is bait. Gleason map is pretty well bang on. And you've got the Mercator map, which is bang on. Mercator map showing you the parallel, which is all representing relativity, relative to the observer, wherever he is on Earth. The distance between arcs of longitude all equal, relevant to him. It's all the same. From the Arctic right out to the Antarctic. The distance between them is all equal. Globe just spinning there, just liars. Outright liars. Trying to give you this bloody, what do they call it? No, can't think. Shalom from under the dome, beneath the throne. Yeah. Graphic artists, yeah, I know. They all want a lot of money though. Or anyone really. Because they're all trying to spin their own stories. They've all got egos, you see. They'll just steal the information, run off and just say they created it or whatever. People have tried to frickin' pick my brains and run off and do their own thing, but I'll just keep it amongst my own personal followers on Patreon. Why go out there and blab to a bunch of ignorant people who have no idea what I'm talking about anyway? This in the whiteboard, not the best way to get across. Yeah. Well, it is if you listen. Joe Hamby too. Yeah, well, he tries to make it. He doesn't even know who I am, but I'm the one who set what did he do? Personal arcs of horizon. I'm the one who started all that. His model, what was his model? Can't remember now. Yeah, whatever it was. I just described all that way before. Use another bit of paper. Yeah. What though? Nah, gingerbread man, nah. What do you mean? Don't you understand? Gingerbread man, read the story. Here in the turtle, read that story. Make it animate the model. Yeah, well, someone else do it then, or give me the money and I'll do it. Doodles. Yeah. Polaris above the hole. Polaris above the hole. Yep, it's on the horizon of the hole. Polaris represents the sun. Isn't the sun a star? Don't they tell you that? Well, it's circling the black hole, isn't it? Try to tell you, in that case, it's a 3-star system, so maybe it's incorporating 2 other hidden entities up there. I mean, creation is about a trinity, so I don't know, maybe there's a couple of other entities up there which might explain tides, because the sun and moon don't explain tides. There's another entity involved. So I'm thinking there is some hidden entity with the sun, time-wise, timing-wise, around the black hole that causes the 2 high tides per day. So if an Aussie travels to Ireland, he shrinks. Yep, it's against the conservation of mass. Oh, you dipstick. Everything expands and contracts. Your heart does, doesn't it? What makes your heart expand? You got a wire, a plug leading. You got a 3-point plug plugged in somewhere. No. What do you think runs the world? What's making that vortex turn? Well, that's a different story. That's hydrostatics. Cold, warm, rushing to each other. You got the two spirals, two ends of the Milky Way coming in to meet. They spiral into each other and spin around the black hole. That's what creates the electrostatics, the friction, which sets off the sun, which sets off the 3D vortex below and separates the 2D from the 3D and creates the Earth at the same time. Everything all works together at the same time. Take one out of the equation, it all falls apart. Mass. There's no mass. It's all matter. Resonance, vibration, matter. Everything is of the light. Well, that goes to explain that nothing's physical. Time dilation, that's the sun, that's light, that's the Milky Way. Dilating. Why is it dilating? Expansion. I just explained all that expansion. Expansion. Dilation out of the south, dilation out of the north, meeting. Two golden ratios. They meet like this. What do you think the old-fashioned books have this image in them for? That represents the bow. The bow, get rid of that bit. You got the bow. And then you got arrow straight through here, the gap between the two hemisphere rotations. The arrow is the bow. People just can't add one and one together. Fresh paper. Lindsay needs a hand with making his genius more accessible. Well, not really, because YouTube's shutting me down. Well, I might need a hand, but all these public forums, they don't like your stuff, don't want you revealing all the secrets, then they're going to hide it all, aren't they? Yeah. Yes, you are. Doesn't matter. Another sheet of paper. Funny. Yeah. You know, the problem with everybody online these days, they want 3D animation before they can understand anything because they're so addicted to the TV, watching TVs and pretty pictures, like all their children. They just get stuck in front of a TV from the day they were born, and that was it. They lack their own imaginations and can't understand anything unless it's in pixels and colour crayons. Yeah, so why doesn't someone do it? You don't know. I've put it out there, and it's about. I suppose I've got a bit of an ego. It's probably about, someone else stealing it, plagiarising it. You can't just go out and get anybody because I've just put it out there and no one's going to listen to you, the whole story. They'll take it and convert it, and it just gets buried. What happens to all modern technology, if it's not run by the Zionists, that's what they do. They take it and bury it. I spread the truth. It's where the people want to listen. You really want the truth, you fork out a couple of bucks, go to my Patreon, but no one wants to do that, so no one really wants the truth, do they? Hey? Tell me you don't believe in black holes. Yeah. I believe in black holes. There's only one black hole. There's only one. All the other bullshit NASA and all the scientists talk about is all bullshit. There's only one black hole of creation. We don't see it. They point to the Sagittarius A in the Milky Way and say there's the bulge of the black hole. Well, the black hole's there because the sun is on the horizon of the black hole. That bulge is the back of the sun, which is tucked into the Milky Way. That's why it's a long white cloud. The sun is white light. We got bandsaw bandit, one of those brain dead MORERONSs. Good watch what you say on this. Oh no, this isn't TikTok. Might be different. So, man, these globe they're really brain dead, aren't they? There's no point getting on their sites because they're so far down the SHIT hole, they can't dig their way out. You can't give them any information because to explain it properly, you've got to take their brain and turn it inside out. You can't do it, can you? No, they're just too far gone. You see that Milky Way thing, I need to see a proper diagram. Let me get another bit of paper. Milky Way thing. The Milky Way thing. Why do they call it a thing? The Milky Way thing. Here's the northern hemisphere. There's the tropics. There's the southern hemisphere. The whole thing's like a sea anemone. In New Zealand, we put a finger in the middle of the sea anemone, it sucks on you. Well, there's a suction. And the suction pipe is this thing they call the Milky Way. It goes over to the black hole centre. The sun's on the horizon. The real fire is around here. If you go and look at the Ptolemy planetary cycle plan, there's the Milky Way. Goes to there. There's the image of our sun. We think it's there. It's all coming from here. In the south, it comes out of here and goes around like this. Oh, it should go right around. There's a pipe there. Our image of the sun comes, but we see it anywhere. It's all relative to the observer. The sun is anywhere through that pipeline. Same with here. Every man from here to south is on a meridian line. No matter which latitude he's at, he will get his image of the sun from this curving magnetic field line, which is in this case is the Milky Way. This is what they call time dilation. This is how we get latitudes. It's all to do with the sun. Everything moving that way gives us 15 degrees per hour arcs of longitude. It's all to do with timing. The sun keeps time. And there comes a time of the year where the two Milky Ways align. There's the galactic centre. And because the Bible's all about this even time, all these flat earthers seem to think this is a firmament over the earth and we're all down here stuck under this solid dome, rakia, firmament, whatever. They don't realise religion's all about this connection, the bridge. It's a bridge, isn't it? Crossing the Red Sea, the whole religious story. They haven't figured that out. See, only I know all this stuff. Only I know all this stuff. So this is your clock arm. The sun is in here, anywhere in here, and it moves around. It could be here. It's going to be there. It's going to be there. It's going to be there. I shouldn't draw that like that. That curl is up in this end. It's just straight. It actually just goes to this point here, actually. The dielectric, the sun is in this dielectric gap. So the field does not cross the tropics, okay? The magnetic field of the north does not cross the tropics. A bit of fuzz comes into the tropics by 7 degrees, and that represents the 7 days in religion of purification, getting away from the fluff. There's the fluff here too. So in between here, you're left with 47 degrees minus 14. 33 degrees. Ooh, that's a funny number, isn't it? Ooh. Maybe the Freemasons know something that you don't. Okay, so here's the clock arm, moves around the earth, and while that's moving around, it's pulling this thing here because it's a mirrored image. Okay, so all the stars in here in the northern hemisphere, they're all out here as well, expanded out in here. So there's a big rotation of stars, your little rotation back in here. That's inverted, inversion. That's what a torus field is all about. Inversion. Now, magnetism. Here's your plane of inertia, Earth. We have an infield and an outfield. A ring magnet standing on edge has an infield and an outfield, north and south. Well, this is actually north. North is going out. North is going out. Coming in is south. So in this cross section of the Earth, there's your tropical gaps. We've done a slice through here, okay? The field comes out of the Arctic, down into the Earth at the tropical boundaries. South, north. Earth is quadrupolar. 2 norths, 2 souths. 2 individual magnetic cycles. Asymmetrical, not balanced. Comes the time of the year where there is balance. It's called Eve. Eventime. Religion. This thing here, it's a book of physics. Get that in you. Get that in you. Yeah. Any questions? No. Satya Seti Rutra says no. Really? You don't know anything. Don't know anything, yeah. Oh, anybody lives in a delusion. Living on this thing here. The deluded globe theory. Where's the asymmetry? Dumbbells? As in tassels on a Christmas tree. That's what I meant by dumbbells. Okay, you got north, you get south. No, you've got north, Arctic, both Arctics, south. You know, even whenever you reveal a secret, they don't want you to reveal to the world. All the trolls jump on board. All these, it's all organised. And they all jumped on old Nigel Cheese. I don't know why he calls himself Cheese. Nehan Cheese. His real name is Nigel Cooper, I think it is. Cook or Cooper. I think it's Cooper. He went and drew one time. He says, this is how the magnetic field on your globe works. And he drew it like this. It goes to there. And it goes to there. It doesn't cross the tropics, he said. But I already knew my stuff way before I saw his video, right? But when he started drawing the globe and talking about the globe, my brain half shut off because of this idiot. He knows what he's talking about because I knew what he was talking about, but then he starts talking about the globe. So my brain shut down. And it wasn't until a couple of years later when someone sent me the video again, I was watching it and realized, oh shit, he's bloody revealing the secret, the 2 magnetic fields coming to this point, not crossing the tropics, which is the flat earth physics. It can't be explained on a globe properly. It doesn't work. There's no asymmetry. So that was pretty buzzy. And then they all jumped on him when he was trying to describe his information about magnetic fields and cycles. He knows what I know. And at the time I was trying to figure out what he meant when it went like that. But you got to realize there's the black hole. And I'm going to expose no one on this earth to date has revealed the true cycle of a magnetic field. Okay, I'm about to do it. It's going to blow some brains. Okay, sent you. You're with me, are you? I thought you're against me. Electrical. So you got to realize you've got the sun, which is electrical, and you got the moon, which is magnetic. Magnetic. Maggie or Mary. And over here we have Christ. The sun. Okay, the sun, we've got the moon. Now, every new moon, they become one. That starts traveling right into the sun. They become one. So together, they become electromagnetic. Okay? And let's draw the planetary motions. Okay, this is the wave. Everything's a wave out from the center. Okay, going that way, dissipating, reducing in strength. Right in here's your black hole. Right in there's a black hole. There's your sun, which moves around the black hole. That's why they draw fire around here, because it's the real sun. Our sun's out here in the tropical gap. Okay, so let's say you got Venus, no, Mercury. It's an M. Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. So then you got the tropical gap, and then the cycle starts again. It's mirrored. So infinite cycles. They're everywhere, because it all depends on which meridian you're on. Every man is on a meridian, north to south. Okay, that's the way it works, because all this is all mirrored from in here. So what was I going to say? Electrical. Yeah. So, and under this, there's your 2D top plane, which is the top of the vortex. It's up here, right? There's your center black hole down there. Well, here's down here is the moon cycles and the stars. They're all in here. These are the planets. So if you look at it this way, you could say there's particles. These are the waves. We look down that way. There's your wave, because the wave coming out. And then these are particles. So when the moon cycle comes right out here, it's like right out there and curls back into there. Like this is full moon. So there's your 2D plane. There's your planets. So it's basically, you've got to imagine everything squashes back to a 2D plane. Okay, to understand reality, understand this. Everything goes back to the 2D plane. But also you think of it like this, because this is where Earth comes from. Once this was all formed, it becomes the 3D. That's where Earth is from. Well, that came initially from the black hole center. So you squash it all back to the 2D plane. But now separate them. So you've got a plane and you've got a vortex. You've got the female down here, you've got the male up here. All the planets are up here, and all the females are in here. Okay? The king, the male, is always up here on the king of the castle. So down in here, basically, the moon is spiraling all the way out across the plane here, and then winding all the way back in again, back into the sun, the real sun. And this is what it does. This is a picture I drew before, where the sun and moon go back into to be one each month, each new moon. So she's basically coming out across, feeding her children, the planets, feeding them. And it's all about resonance sound. It's all from a sound wave coming out of the black hole center, the trumpet. So there's the light spectrum, you could say, is within here. And you've got to think of what's going on between these points. You could say these are nodal points. I mean, it's a wave, isn't it? And each planet, these are the notes, or the key, or whatever. I don't know much about music, so I don't explain it too well. And the moon is basically doing her thing in between these notes. Okay, she's like the black key of the piano. which is funny because it's another inversion, isn't it? You could consider that those are the black keys and they're all the white keys. So you've got to understand creation is inverted to our physical realm. As above, so below, but it's inverted. And then you've got to think of the 2D plane, and man is from the black hole. Man is the black hole. So man himself represents the beginning of creation. It's his created world. He lives on the plane. He is the black hole with his own toroidal field or arc of horizon. So that's his horizon out to there. That's why everything dissipates or dissolves into the earth, into the inertial plane, bottom up. So the higher he goes, his field expands. Rise up, Daniel, you will see further. It's just the way it goes. So it's understanding that the torus field that comes out of man, it's his personal arc of horizon. Everything in the sky comes back to him, perpendicular off that arc. This is how you do celestial navigation. It's all to do with this arc because you get a sextant reading from here to there. The manual, the book wants to know what's the balance to make up your 90 degrees. So if that's 30, then this 60 degrees here then becomes 60 times 60 nautical miles. And you add that up, and that gives you the distance from where you are to this GP of that star. But bearing in mind, the star's here, you could be anywhere. So it basically draws a circle around that. Yeah, you could be anywhere around the star. Okay? So that just tells you that distance there. It doesn't tell you where on the earth you are at this stage, but that's the beginning, the basis of it all. It all works like this. Man's personal arc of horizon. This is where they get this globe idea from. Oh, look, it's curved. And where's everything going? As you walk that way, things are going down on your horizon. So they continue in this system like this because you're like a wheel rolling across the flat plane. So as you walk that way, everything's coming into your horizon. As you're walking away, it's going down and out of your horizon. They know all this because this is how they draw NASA draws their sun image like this, don't they? And they draw this field going like this. But people are too stupid to even understand that. There's the blob. And it's the magnetic field of the Earth in total, overall. It's represented by the pyramid, you see. It's the down and out field of the magnetism, because there's your octopus. This represents the 24-hour sun all the way around Antarctica. Octantis. Oh, look at that. Sigma octantis, which used to be called Australis? Sigma Australis. And what was it called? Something Australis. So it's Australia version. Up here, the Arctic. The Aurora Borealis. Aurora Australis or something. Yeah, something like that. You haven't talked about that for a while. So this is the season, the way the sun moves up and in its cycle. It's all to do with the magnetic flux of the Earth. It gets drawn up and in, or down and out, and this is part of the toroidal field. So you get your image up here, and then it gets pulled out and it pins up out here, or out that one. So torus field, you go like this. It's going like this all the time. So you get your images of the moon here looking up the right way, and then you turn it inside out, and down in the south, they're upside down. It's part of the torus field, you see, because there's a plane there. When the field goes down and changes, in the season, the sun, this is what the sun's basically doing. It's going down into a mente to pop up out here. Okay, so you get your sun up here in the north, and then it changes and goes down and pops out of here for their summer. And there's summer, June solstice here, and then comes a December solstice here, and then it goes down and goes back up that way. There's way more to that. It gets a bit complicated to try and explain. So realise that these represent declination, degrees, arcs of degrees. The seasons change over the year. Up and in, or down and out, down and out. And that's there. Once again, you go back to the central vortex of creation, which is that way. And you get the bulge, it bulges up like that, or it comes down like that, and the real sun's in there. So what does this look like? That is the eye of Ra. That's also the sovereign orb the Queen carries around at the top of her staff. This is the staff. Okay, the bally thing, the top of her staff. Okay. Okay, any questions? So the world, we are told, is completely spiritual rather than physical. Yes. It's all metaphysical. Metaphysics. It's all of the mind. We're just programmed. Nothing's actually physical. You learn about your physics. You learn some physics. They tell you you're not actually touching something. It's repulsion. It's all magnetism. There's something between you and it. It's not really there. And you can sort of understand this when you're holding something. And if you just lie there long enough, you soon realise you don't feel you're holding anything. You're not holding anything. Just going to take a loo break. 1 second. Back again. Oh, we've got 14 people now. Wow, what a bonus. Yep. Electrical. This and other latest videos and so precious. Thank you. Yeah, just follow some near-death experience stories. They all know. Well, it can be measured flat. I don't know how you do that. You've got to realise it all comes from the sky, the arc, man's arc of horizon. Like the Bible says, earth is like a print, and it is. It's like breaking an egg in half, eggshell, and parting them. And through spectroscopy and zenith cameras, they've discovered the ether, the atmosphere above, is shaped to form the opposite, the other eggshell half to the contours of the land. The topography of the earth is imprinted in the sky. It's pretty buzzy, eh? I mean, like I said, this thing is a book of physics. It reveals all the secrets. It's all there. Your scientists, the people around the world, have just plagiarized everything. Because the Freemasons know all about religion. They know all about everything I've just explained here. They don't want you to know it because they want to control you. So if they control the situation, manufacture all the space and stuff, then they've got one over you. It's all about living in this enslaved camp where they govern it all, take your money, make sure you're all working busy and hard and not stopping to think about anything. Stress out, give you all this bullshit online, mainstream media, so you're stressing and worried. Oh, we need the government to save us. Oh my God, the evil Iran. Oh, we got to bomb them to bits. Oh, no, we know who's evil and who's not. That is a deeply religious state, and we're just bombing the shit out of them. How disgusting is that? Celestial navigation only works on a flat. Yeah, well, you got to have the flat plane, the horizon. Then they start going on about globies about refraction, and it's below the horizon. All this garbage. You take if you delve into the dip compass. They just tell you it dips at the Arctics and vertical at the equator, which is basically telling you there's no magnetic field crossing the tropics. There's no magnetic field there. You've got to turn it around 90 degrees, and they explain it how the dip is basically pointing to the horizon. So then you put on your flat Earth cross section here. So you can say there's a dip compass like this, but you've got to realise it's dipping on this horizon here, and it's pointing to that horizon. It's not really dipping. You've got to understand it's pointing to that horizon, but at the equator, it's straight up. So it's showing you the field comes out of here, the field comes out of here, but look, there's no field here. There's no magnetic field. It's completely opposite. Ooh, maybe a bit hard to explain. Yeah. But realise the magnetic field doesn't cross the tropics. There's no declination. Magnetic declination. Except for like 7 degrees into the tropics. This is why we get the doldrums and all that in the tropics. During sleep paralysis, and when we are almost hovering over our body, do we see different frequencies of light and sound? I heard such scary sound and vibrant red stripes of colour. I don't know, I haven't been dead. But they come back and basically describe flat Earth, half of these people. One of the guys would talk about, we all live in these pods. It's called Man's Ark of Horizon, bro. Pods. They always talk about going through the tunnel. Well, the tunnel is the Milky Way. Everyone goes through the tunnel. All of creation has gone through that Milky Way tunnel. That's the core of creation. Why do they see white light in there? Because the bloody sun's in there, that's why. And all these brain dead people say, don't go to the light, don't go to the light. You want to go to the light. That's where God is, that's where you want to be, but they all get sent back. No, it's not your time yet, and they get sent back to Earth to be messengers, to try and get through to the ignorant. But, the world's full of them, the ignorant. I measured it flat with lasers and mirror flashes, 1 inch high over 16 miles of water. Yeah, That's all right. Well, you got the Bilford Gaia thing. Bilford Gaia? Yeah. It's flat, all right. But surveyors will tell you it's not, because they don't understand this torus field I was drawing about everything being in the light. All about you. You're the observer. He's the surveyor. He's not understanding this system here. They just think, well, the way this works here is you go that way, this circle is going to keep going like this. So they think down here is reality. There's something down here that we're not seeing it yet, because we haven't walked that far on the ball. It's just dissolving into the inertial plane, like I drew before. Oh, it's under there. That black hole, the way that NASA draws the black hole thing, spiraling around like this, flowing. All those gravitational calculations, never make. It's all bullshit, eh? Because they revert back to the. They revert back to this, and they're trying to tell you there's this magnetic force being pulled back into the sun or something. There's nothing going on there. These are all concentric circles that do not move, ever. It's a frequency band. Okay? It's forever going that way, though, but it's understanding. You could imagine these as inert gaseous bands. They have their own frequency, okay? But it's always being purified, renewed, so it's shifting in frequency out from blue to red shift, okay? But these planets are always representing that wave. You could say they're the particles on the wave. So is it a wave or is it a particle? They're both here, aren't they? So in the way, this is the 2D ecliptic plane at the top here, right? Well, you've got to imagine it as our arc of horizon. These wave bands and they're frequency bands. This is why we can send a frequency through this band over to there or around the world, because the Earth is basically a layered atmosphere with those bands. So you get a ground-based satellite sending something all the way around the world, halfway around the world, or maybe right around the world, I don't know. They don't tell you that, eh? But it's all to do with frequencies, and that's to do with crystals, because crystals hold frequencies, and the crystals are like an amplifier or something or other. It's the way that, depends on how they cut them and all that. Iran is a democratic, is what the USA government. They are really terrible. What? Iran is a demonic as much as USA. Why? Don't be silly. Why do you say that? I've had friends go to Iran. They're lovely people. All these Middle Eastern people are Palestinians. They're very polite. You know, they're so polite it's flipping unreal, really. Religious. They don't understand religion fully, but at least they have the faith. God, you must be a little bit brainwashed there, bro. This is why winds blow in Coriolis effect. Well, the Coriolis is the magnetic field, isn't it? It's the wave of the magnetic field. It's a plowshare. Okay, look what a plowshare looks like. That's a magnetic wave. And the Egyptians told us the magnetic field is in the wind. And it's all getting drawn to the tropics, isn't it? It all gets drawn around to the tropics. Tropical boundary. They show this on the globe, don't they? Here's your globe. They show you the wind blowing around to this point here, because they know it doesn't cross the tropics. And they show you here, all in meteorology. The Egyptians tell us that it's starting to look like two ribs, the rib cage here, see? Because Adam and Eve, Adam is male and female at even time. So they're talking about the rib cage, not the rib cage. It's one half male, one half female. Man is X and Y. Okay? It says that in Genesis, doesn't it? Made him male and female. It's about the male finding his lost Lilith, this feminine aspect, which requires the moon, Mary, to give birth to his spiritual oneness. God within, become one, even. Moon, Mary, gives her 1/7. He's got 7 chakras. He's got to do the first 6 on his own through a balance between mind and heart and mind. And the celestial alignment comes around with his open mind, and bingo, he gets his 1/7, becomes God-like. That's what religion's all about. What if we fly a helium balloon over Antarctica? How far would we see? 100 kilometers. Oh, it disappeared. Let's go back up. It keeps disappearing. A helium balloon. Well, you'll hit the firmament. They call the firmament, because what you're doing is you've got to find, you realise all these have their own pressure bands. And if you go right back to the earth, like I've drawn on the arcs here, man's here, we're under pressure. The most pressure is down here. Well, if the atmosphere is thinning, the further they go, how can we get up there? We fall apart. This is why you have to have pressurized aeroplanes. You know, at a certain height. We can't get out. It's hard to explain when it's backwards like this. A pressurized thing cannot get through this non-pressure barrier type thing. Everything finds its own equilibrium, state of balance. And our balance is down here on Earth. And you've got all these different waves, haven't you? All these different pressure bands. You could say the helium balloon will go up to here, to helium. Okay? Then it won't go any further. Say let's pure hydrogen up here maybe. Or maybe it does get there. But anyway, come back down here to the other inert gaseous layers. It can't get up to there. The only way it gets purified is via the tropical gap in here. Everything gets purified in here through ionization as the molecule is rising through here, because everything gets swept into here and then goes up through here. There's ionization, lightning, sprites, zapping it to go from one gradient to another, to another, to another, to it's completely purified to the sun in our realm. But really, it's got to go through the Milky Way and feed the plasma over here, which is pure plasma. So the water molecule, everything has to be 100% pure to be fed into the pure plasma. Or back in our realm, you can just say into this sun here, our image. So you can imagine everything's being purified up to this point. But this is connected to there. It's all getting sucked back into there anyway. So there's an imbalance. There's a 3 to 2, but vice versa in energy. It's stronger here and weaker there. So, but size-wise, doesn't matter which way you want to look at it. But anyway, there's an imbalance. And that imbalance creates the friction, the electrostatics between here and here to create the sun, illumination. And what's left is the 1, because 2 and 2 It's the balance. You're left with one. That one, well, that's the odd one that creates the electrostatics. But the balance feeds the fixed and stationary black hole. That's pure balance. That's, imagine it as meditation, going to a place of pure bliss, balance. That's what Eve represents. Even time. Even, that's even. It's found an even balance here, even. Finding that's what religion's all about. Physics is all about that. Everything finds its equilibrium, its equal state of pressure for balance. Everything wants to seek balance. But in that earthly system, there will always be violence because of this 3-to-2 ratio or golden ratio. Okay, there's always this imbalance. Friction, which creates friction. But it is written, if man stopped killing animals, he would stop killing each other. Killing. And in is it Plato or Socrates or someone, didn't he say, they say, leave the flesh to the dogs and the soldiers, because the soldiers are the ones killing each other. So you give them flesh, because they're the ignoramuses, killing each other. They'll never ascend, they've never raised their soul. You kill animals or people, you never find the door out of here. You're locked. You just keep getting reincarnated back into the stink system. Stink, bro. Okay. You know, in that 1958 American Encyclopedia about hitting the firmament at 13,000 feet. 13,000 feet. So it's the Earth. Well, look, it's coming down to the Earth here, 90 degrees, say. Remember, Arctic Circle, 66.6 degrees. We never get out here. You die. No one can get there. You die. Like Enoch said, find the ends of the earth and go there, you will surely die. You can't get there because of the high pressure. You're trying to explain that to people, it gets complicated because we are under pressure. We cannot go that way and be depressurized going that way. Okay? What was I going to say? Yeah. So they say 13,000 feet hits the firmament at 80 degrees or something, wasn't it? Well, you come back to about 77 or something. We had Mount Erebus. That's 13,000 feet. Well, that was another, we're talking 80. It was a long way further than 77 or 70 or whatever it was. It starts bottoming out, hitting the firmament here. So it's because the field comes down like this. There's the Arctic, the tropical gap. The field comes down. It's the flux. We live in the flux of the Earth. The Earth is the ring magnet. The dielectric plane is the center of that magnet way down into the ground. Okay? We live on the top half of creation, or the place of creation, which is it's all about the hyperboloid center of a torus field, isn't it? The hyperboloid center. The field coming in this way, field coming in this way, it's going out that way, going out that way. That's the in and out cycle. There's your ring magnet. There's your magnet. A magnet has an in and out cycle, doesn't it? Well, it goes over to there, goes along the ground, thou shalt go, all the way to there, comes up and over, goes along the ground, thou shalt go, drops straight down. You could say it goes like that. And look, you got your brain again, back to two hemispheres, haven't you? That's only one side of the Earth though. There's your Arctic, Antarctic, Antarctic. They're both Arctics, whether you want to call it Antarctic or not, it's up to you, but it's Antarctic, it's the same. They're both North Poles, North Poles, Poles, South Poles, Capricorn, Cancer, the banks of the Jordan in religion, the swampy, the marshlands, where they stuck Jesus in a basket and had him sitting around the edge of the water there somewhere. The basket, the solar boat. What's the basket? The solar boat, because the sun's in the Milky Way. That is the solar boat. And science goes like this. Look, there's Sagittarius. Hey, no, it's the back of the sun. It's tucked into the Milky Way like an eye in a socket. How do I do it? There's the sun, the illumination of the sun. There's what we see, that it's the knee joint. That's the bulge at the back, say. There's the sun. There's your Sagittarius A, okay? The back of the sun. Sun's in here. It's considered the kneecap. This is the pig. Go look up the etymology of a pig. It's the inside, backside of your kneecap. The pig. Okay? Pig, they mention in... It's in religion somewhere. It's in the Bible, isn't it? Pig, or what do they call it? Not the sow, the other word. Whatever. Yep, the governments work together to deceive. Well, look at them, China, India, all trying to say they're going to the moon with these bloody toys. What a joke. Captain Gum is going to sail to the outer lands. You can't. What are you going to do when you hit the ice? You know, the Arctic is up on a high plateau. You've got to get up on there to start up. Mate, there is a lower area, which is down there around, where we have our bases, Scott Base and all that. You get into that fjordland there. But the rest, well, most of it is all up on this very high plateau, a couple 100 feet high. You've got to get onto the plateau, then keep walking. But where you're walking to, because your compass, nothing works there. Beyond 66.6 degrees, your compass goes haywire. How they can get to the Arctic Circle, or, all those regions you go to down there, is because they've got beacons that, they use, sending out frequencies. You can follow the the beacons. But if you're planning on heading south, you can't. Where's south? I've drawn how the field goes. It's like this. There's your spirals around like that. There, it's 66.6 degrees here. How are you going to find look how the field goes. This is your magnetic field. This is pointing north or south, actually. It's just the way they make their compasses. You've got to realise this compass here is backwards compared to this, because if you took a northern hemisphere compass and went to the southern hemisphere, north is going to point you to here. So let's say you've got a northern hemisphere compass and you want to sail to 66.6 degrees. This is the path you're going to take all the way to there, which is going to indicate north. Because that is north right there. That's 66.6 degrees. Now, you've gone like that, spiraled in like that. Well, how are you gonna go beyond that point? Unless, the CIA or NASA or whoever has put all these ping stations to ping your way south, direct on a meridian. It's south. There's your north, there's your south, to follow that path. Because they would have only gone so far. But let's say the last one's there, so you can have some sort of system where it's pinging and it's dead north of where you're going. Say, forget about whether it's north or south, whatever, 90 degrees to where you're travelling. But you're still only going to get so far. No one can get there. You will surely die. It's that simple. space. Hey, what is the reason for earthquakes? Is the scientific reasoning correct? Now, I think it is just God's wrath. Well, you've got to have earthquakes as part of the earthly system, because earthquakes, there's friction. So our earthly realm has friction to start with. Even in the Bible, it mentions earthquakes because of the overlay, the starry system. Let's say the northern hemisphere star system. There's just southern hemisphere star rotation. This comes up and overlays. So they call this, it's subduction. So they call it earthquakes. Like this going down, this going up. This is how they describe it in the Bible, earthquakes in those days. So earthquakes are, well, actually, I believe that Earth is always expanding out from the north. Okay, so what comes out of the north, and it's spiraling out one way, and which causes because it's expanding outward like this, it's causing the geomagnetic north, magnetic north, or geomagnetic, whatever, to move west-north. The magnetic field is drifting, around this way, because Earth is expanding, out that way, opposite to the way the field's moving. Earth is always expanding out, and it gets to here and it gets lost. So you could say this part of the world, right in Antarctica, is also going down into something, disappearing out of from our realm, to be recycled back up and in, because it's all a toroidal field, so it's always flowing out. So it's moving this way, gets to here, and then it ends up just coming back into here, because nothing is physical. You've got to understand that. So, but the tropics will always be in the centre. So let's say you've got a country on the tropical boundary here, it's going to be coming into the tropics more and more and more. And this could have something to do with the temperature changes, weather changes. Look at Japan. Man, that's got up to 40 degrees now, 42 degrees. And 40 years ago, they never had that. They never even had heat pumps, air conditioning units. Now they couldn't live without them. Everything is expanding outward, okay? But the tropics will always be there, because it has to be in the centre, because the high pressure of the Arctics all converge at these boundary points to keep the whole system going. Okay, and that's where we see our sun move in and out of here. But realise that image all comes from here and from here. The sun doesn't have heat. The Milky Way has the heat. You see your image of a sun anywhere on this line which is the Milky Way. It's the fire. It's the dragon. Okay? The heat is here, and it's due to this magnetic induction created in the tropics here. That creates the heat, and it's attached to the Milky Way, both ends. The magnetic field is coming out here. Magnetic field. It's without writing it all down, it's hard to explain. That's why I write posts on my Patreon. I can explain it better. And even then, sometimes I don't. When I go back and see it again, I think, oh my God, what the hell is that? I don't even understand it myself, so I have to edit it. And English grammar isn't my forte. Hardly learned anything at school. Didn't even go to school to eat my lunch. Learned to eat my lunch because I never got given a lunch. Had to walk home, scavenge my own food out of the cupboard. The mother had left home, left with my father. And a couple of things in the house: bread, cheese, baked beans and spaghetti. But he kept those up in the high cupboard and said we can't eat them. So what am I stuck with eating? Probably peanut butter and honey sandwiches. Then found out later that my younger brothers were helping themselves to all the baked beans and spaghetti in the top cupboards. Yet the old man never said anything. All I knew, he told me not to eat those. Yeah, let's not go there, eh? Right, what else we got here? Yeah, earthquakes. So earthquakes, yeah. So yeah, Earth expanding out, and it's those subduction areas not far from them is where you find all the oil. So like in Venezuela, you'll find there's more convergent points there, tectonic plate areas, more converging around Venezuela. That's why they have the most oil. And then you go look at the map and check out the tectonic plates around Saudi Arabia, the second. All the oil, it's all dissolved rock through this heating system, friction. It's nothing to do with bloody trees and dead trees and grass. It's a joke. Volcanoes are the same. You need volcanoes to send the fine mineral particles and iron and nickel and stuff into the atmosphere. Man is made up of all these things, minerals, earth. It all needs it. Needs it all. Helps with the ionization going on in the tropics here. You know, when they mention iron rod or whatever in religion or esoteric stories, they're referring to ionization. Ionization. Okay? And your masters have, flipped the storyline, confusing everybody with this sort of stuff here. Just like they've taken the divine entity Isis, Mother Mary, the moon and stars, the sky, and turned it into a funded slaughter group in the Middle East. They've taken the brain dead and called them woke, when woke means awoken, divinely awoken, spiritually awakened, illuminated, but they've taken the brain dead and called them woke. There's another one I pointed at yesterday. I can't remember what it was now. Faith comes with the true understanding. Beliefs are blind and comes with ignorance. That's why religion is a tool used for believers. All governments are using this tool to keep people blind. Yep. Well, they love it. Well, at the same time, they're destroying religion. They're sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Well, one, you've got the brain, DEAD, believing it literally. But at the same time, the people ruling the world don't want you to go too deep with it and understand what I'm explaining. You'll find the truth and wake up, have total recall, and then you're no longer one of their slaves, and they'll get pissed off. They don't like total recall. Imagine if anyone woke up tomorrow. I swear, if they all woke up tomorrow, the government would be dead and gone within a week or two. All of them. Probably put on the cross. Like the Son, of course, die on the cross. Jesus, give them a good old Jesus. Christ. No science with earthquakes, bud. What's the variable? No science with earthquakes. No science with earthquakes. Like I said, it's all about expansion or contraction, and renewal, of course. Of course, the subduction is taking Earth down into the ocean to bring up the new. This is why Earth is always changing. The topography, everything, like the top of the mountains, you've got seashells, haven't you? Well, all came out of the sea. Everything comes up out of the sea. Some morons tried to tell everybody that, oh, the earth was flooded by an ocean. What a load of garbage. Everything comes up out of the water. There's only so much water. You can't flood the earth with when you've only got one certain amount of water. But, you know, if you did drop all the atmospheric moisture, it would raise the sea level a little bit. But it's not going to flood all the earth. It's garbage. Earth would not be here if man did not exist. It's all consciousness. Without the man's mind, the brain, then it's not here. If you didn't see it, it didn't happen, basically. Outer lands are shown on the moon map. Yeah, well, it's just the way they draw it, but I've been over that. Isn't it funny that they say space is flat and everyone believes it? Well, above the northern hemisphere, it is flat. It is a flat sky. It's where it starts curving from the equator down, or even Capricorn actually, down to the Arctic, Antarctica. That's the curvature sky, curving sky. You've got to realise it works like this. Let me try and draw it. So you've got to understand the flat earth. You've got to, okay, here we go. You got the northern hemisphere here, right? Surrounded, centrally locked, doesn't go anywhere. It just turns, doesn't move. But the southern hemisphere, tropical gap, is out here, but it's a lot bigger, of course, because there's a asymmetry. It's expanded. But I'll just draw it the same. So there's Antarctica. So you think this is 90 degrees. That's the end of the world. That's the South Pole, you're told. But it works like this. It just folds over like that. Folds over like that. So, it folds over like that. I showed it. It wasn't on camera. Folds over like that. So 90 degrees, that 90 degrees Arctic becomes here. It's 66.6 degrees. There's 90 out here. So there's the two poles, okay? North Pole, North Pole. South Pole, South Pole. And this is where we get Orion's belt come through in a nice straight line. See, this is the veil. Everything's hidden under the veil. So all these stars here, they all move this way. And it comes right up to there, right up to the June solstice, like this. And then it moves back again. And it gets to a certain point where where it forms all of religion talks about. And look, it says across the net, it's on the boundary of the tropical boundary. It's in here. 66.6 degrees. And these are infinite. It's all the way around. Because this moves that way. As this turns, all these stars come into your horizon, pass over your horizon to go out. Come in, over, go out. That's how it works. Helium is one of the most abundant elements. Yeah, apparently. Well, it probably comes from the sunlight. I think we are surrounded by helium, 3 superfluid. Helium. Oh, probably could be. Well, you've got there's the earth. When it's all layered, isn't it? It's all getting purified as you go up. And it's pressure. We're obviously pressurized down here in our comfort zone on Earth. Man is of the Earth, from the Earth, can't leave the Earth. You can't get up through here. You can't change the pressure. You know, it can equalise a little bit, but, you know, you get up here, you can't get there. That's probably 10,000 kilometres, could be. Kilometres. If that's 10,000 kilometres to there and to there on the Earth, is it? Well, that's the equator. There's your northern hemisphere, there's your tropics, there's your southern hemisphere. Well, it's 10,000 to there, 10,000 to the equator there, isn't it? 10,000 kilometres, then you've got 10,000 kilometres from here. Okay? 20,000 kilometres. And they tell you that's only 20,000 kilometres around the equator, they keep saying. Well, it's all equal. That distance there is the same distance, that distance, and that distance, and that distance. This is why we have a Mercator map, because of expansion. Man, little man, bigger man, bigger man. That's how big the man is. Is that distance there equal to this distance here? Yes, it's all equal. That's why the Mercator map has all the arcs of longitude, all equal, because they're representing relativity. A man stands here, it's all equal there. He stands here, it's all equal there, because he has expanded with it, with the field. This is that guy Dolby Speakers, Sound Dolby. He's saying this back in the 60s, because it's all about waves, sound waves. How did he know though? I don't know. He says everything expands as we move south. He said it. It's clear as daylight. It's on film. I saw it on YouTube recently. So Joe Hampy thinks so too. Thinks what? I don't know. He's got whatever he came up with made him famous. The stuff I was showing years before. I think that was just the dome of perspective, the first to mark the horizon, wasn't it? I can't remember. It's a beautiful day. I'm supposed to be outside painting my garage. Yeah, I think some of my co-workers in the air conditioning and refrigeration field are finally understanding some of this. They got hooked on high pressure, moving to low, and couldn't stop asking more questions. Wow. And they should have known a bit of science. If they're doing air conditioning, should have known how it works. Should have looked into it. The refrigerator, the fridge works the way the earth works. How did they know all that? How did they come up with a TV? Even the all black and white TV works the same way the earth works. Excuse me. Believing things that you cannot prove yourself is how everyone ended up thinking they lived on a ball. Yeah. How did that work out? I would think certain people would have learned by now. No, see, they're not looking. You got to look. You got to seek before you can find. Wells is. So we grow, no, we expand. There's no evolution, there's only conscious involvement, consciousness. Raising your consciousness is basically the same as the earth. You're raising in frequency, your consciousness, your brain. Over time, we are getting wiser and wiser. It's a pretty slow path though, isn't it, when you look around? Consciousness, become godlike. You know, God's up here, king of the castle. The sun's up the top here too, represents God, Christ, whatever. Man down here, he's got to ascend consciously, raise his chakras to go up the mountain. There's the mountain, see? Or you go back to the flat earth and the tropical boundaries, Cancer and Capricorn. Going up the mountains, because all about these cliffs. These are cliff faces, described as cliff faces, dropping straight down, or going fishing. The Fisher King story, dropping the fishing rod straight down. Fishing rod. There's all sorts of stories concerning this. You got the Mists of Avalon. Within the first few pages, they talk about the carding wheel. Well, the carding wheel is the phi ratio. The carding wheel is like this. 2 to 3. The carding wheel, showing you the hemisphere, the asymmetry between the hemispheres is all esoteric. How come Moon has the exact photocopy of Earth? We don't know that, do you? You think that, and maybe it is, but no one can really prove it, can they? Well, they do show it pretty well. Like, there's something to it, of course, like I described earlier. I mean, the moon is the negative image, and everything comes out of the black hole centre of creation. Earth is from the hole. So if the moon's got the negative image, what's the negative image of? The black hole, the Earth. Give me some more questions because I'm getting pretty hungry. It's lunchtime. It's back down to only 10 people watching now. See how many people out there and there's only 10 watching? How many pass through? And passed on to something nice and colourful, and a lot of words that mean nothing. There was a good phrase I found on TikTok the other day. It said something about everybody talks and talks about this and that and that, but no one actually reveals anything. It was a good statement, actually. Yeah, well, shit, I've been talking for 2 hours. I'm going to go. Okay. Thanks for tuning up. See you later.